It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and it's episode 17. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Saturday, January 28th, 2023. So welcome to the show, people. Thank you for being here today for another great episode of the Dep Lewis Show. We're here to talk about the video games and much more. So we're going to get right into it. I hope you've been doing good out there in the streets. Hope your video games been going well. Hope you've been gaining experience and leveling up, getting your coins up, and getting trophies and achievements and all that kind of shit. So welcome to the Dep Lewis Show. We are here. So like I said, this is the Dep Lewis Show. If you'd like to support this show, the best thing to do is follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You can like, you can subscribe, you can rate, you can comment, you can review, you can turn on notifications, and you can tell a friend. You can email any questions or feedback you have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is a good hub to find the best place for you to listen to this podcast. So if you'd like to slide through the Buzzsprout page, you can find the perfect place to listen. And there's clips of the show on YouTube and TikTok. And just thank you for being here. You can hear the sirens going out right now because they know the show's going on. They're like, oh man, call the alarm, baby. This show's going down. So it's going to be a great one. All right. Notes from last show. I just wanted to shout out Splatoon 3 since I didn't mention them last week for the first time in a long time. You know, if there was some type of counter going on, that was probably a 16 episode streak or something like that. So no Splatoon 3 last week. There is actually some Splatoon 3 news coming up in the midsection of the show. So there's a little teaser for you. So I don't know if the Splatoon 3 hiatus will last forever. And then even when I noticed that last week, I said there will maybe be no Horizon talk this week, or even Vampire Survivors for this episode. And I said, only Tuesday. And you know what? I didn't play either of those games this week, so we won't be talking about either one of those, but I love those games, and shout out to them. So just thought that was interesting. Yeah, I wrote, yep, there's too many good games, and I've been engaging in something. So I got engaged, so I'm going to talk about that in this first section, actually. I got engaged, so we're going to talk about that. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about that engagement. That's a big thing. So in the What I've Been Playing section is a game called Fire Emblem Engage. So yes, I got engaged to a video game. The video game said yes because I had the $60 to purchase it. So it was a nice transaction, and now we're engaged, and I'm engaged in this game. And I'm really liking this game. I'm really liking the characters. I think I'm 6-ish hours in. This is a great podcast game. I'm really liking all the characters. I think there's a new character. I think my new favorite one's called Alcryst, Alcryst. And that may be my new top favorite character based on his bow and arrow being so good. It really helped me out in the last battle. And this game is awesome. I think if you're a Fire Emblem Three Houses fan, or a fan of Fire Emblem in general, you'll like this game. It's the rhetoric you hear online and on podcasts is this game is more focused on the tactics, and I think that's for the better. The small sections of story are, they're pretty fun, but it's not that important to the whole thing. The main thing you want to do here is fight these battles, and after the battles, you want to up your arsenal. Maybe change your weapons out, maybe buy some potions, things like that. So it gives you a few moments to reset after each battle. After each main battle, there's like main story battles, and there's also prologue battles you can complete, and there's lurking bad guys on the map that you can go fight them on a map you've already played. So there's a lot of stuff to do in this game, and the way I played the last game was just to kind of play everything that was in front of me in that game. So I'm doing all the prologue stuff, and I love it. You go in there, you play those battles. They actually last a pretty good amount of time. Pretty lengthy battles, I would say. And then after the battle, you get to scrounge this little area for some stuff on the ground and talk to some people, and then you can go back to the Somniel. I don't know how to say that. A Somniel. I'm going to learn how to say that before this show's over. But you go back to the Somniel, and that's where you can talk to characters, and talk to all your characters, and you can go shopping and buy your upgrades, and go see your animals that you adopt. That part's pretty cool. You can adopt animals. You can bring them back to the Somniel, and they will, it's like you put them out in the field, and then you can go pick shit up in the field that's not shit, but you can go pick up, no, I did have some manure in one game recently, but I don't know which game that is.
But either way, you can pick up some useful stuff off the ground from them. It's just like just stuff you can use for crafting or whatever, but it's pretty neat. So actually, that's pretty interesting. And let's see what else I have to say about the Fire Emblem Engage. I'm really loving this game. I definitely think it's my favorite game of the year, since it's the first new game of the year I've played. I'm really having a lot of the same feelings from playing Three Houses, and I think it's really cool. And I do like the little more straightforward nature to this game, getting in right to the battle. So a lot of this time I'm just like, hey, do I want to play 1 or 2 battles, or what am I going to do now? And then I'll save, and then usually kind of I'm trying to think of I'm about to say re-inventorize, but get my inventory back up and then save, and then hit it for the next time. So this game has been really awesome, and I don't think I could be any happier with it. I really like the characters. The main character I picked is awesome. Like I said, I like that All Christ guy. He's really cool. I really am having most people on my team with the emblem rings. I think they're very powerful and cool. But I like having some range. I like the magic. I like the bow and arrows. I like the bow and arrows. I like the magic. I like having a healer. And it's really cool. You really have to have a little bit of everything, and there's enough characters to pick which ones you like. So a lot of these battles, you're not able to take your full breadth of characters on your squad, but you can pick the ones you like, which is really cool. And I like doing that. It's fun to see how many you can take, and which ones I can pick, and which ones I can cut, which ones are most important to me. And All Christ is a new guy I just got, so he's going to be added to my new top rotation. So I got to bump somebody. So that's a really fun part of this game, is the team building. And that's something I kind of forget about with these games and RPGs in general that I like. I really like the having your team and having your people that are specified for certain things and trying to level them and spec them in certain ways. And that's kind of, I guess, where you go most of the, not most, but a lot of the fun in these games is that actual component. So the characters are really cool. I like the inventory management, the team building. I actually wrote team building on here. That's weird. the quick amount of story, and the battle scenes are really cool. And I like the different objectives on the map. So sometimes, the map has this straightforward, defeat all the enemies or defeat their main enemy. But there's also the houses, if it's in like a neighborhood, not a neighborhood, but like a town. There might be a house where some people are trapped inside or they're hiding. You can go up to the door and tell them, and they'll give you an item. Or just there's some different ways on the maps you can explore through. You can break down walls to get to different areas, and it's just really, really cool. This is only my third Fire Emblem game ever, so I'm not the most versed in these games, but I really love that Three Houses game. I'm really loving this too. So my immediate impressions are this is better than Three Houses, and I think that's pretty huge. So you're going to be hearing me talk about this game in this What I've Been Playing section. I'm going to be engaged for a while on this, so it's taking over that Splatoon 3 ranking right now for I'm probably going to go on a streak of talking about it until I beat it. So I'm 6 hours in. I think this game, I don't know, I think I've heard around 40 or 50 hours possibly to complete it. So we're in for a wild ride here. I know the Three Houses took a good while, but we will see. It's really, really fun. So let's see if I have any other notes here. I've started using the mini-map on the battle after. Yeah, using that mini-map to find everything on the map to pick up is nice and helpful. And when I go back to the thumbnail, I basically just make sure all my characters have enough vulneries. That's another tough one. Vulneries. It's like vulnerables, but it's vulnerary for each character after the battle. I'm definitely saying that wrong, but you need to make sure you have at least 6 of those mugs on each guy, so you can so you're not losing in the battle. And I have started. I'm not playing on permadeath mode, but I have started losing people in battle. So I think the difficulties are ramping up nicely, because I was owning in the first few matches, and now I'm actually having some people get slept on the battlefield, and then my numbers are dwindling. But I've still been winning, so I like that it's leveling up, and it seems like it's doing it appropriately. I'm playing the prologues and everything, so hopefully I'll be properly leveled and kicking ass in this game, and just having my ass kicked just a little bit. That'd be nice. So Fire Emblem Engage, go get it on the Nintendo Switch. $59.99. It's out now. It's been out since the 20th. It's a great game. If this game isn't on my top 10 at the end of the year, then something goes very wrong in this game, or the rest of the year is just insane. And I think it's pretty safe, but just with the way the video games have been going this year, and some of this news and some of this stuff we'll talk about later in the show, there's a lot of good video game stuff going on. So it's a great time to be a gamer. Alright, so Fire Emblem Engage, shout out to you. That's the first game that I'm playing this week. Hey, I need to slow my roll here. I didn't even tell you guys what is going to be happening in the show this week, what's going on. So I'm just going to pause and do that real quick. I guess I was just too excited to talk about my engagement in Fire Emblem. But this show, we always have our 3 sections. The first section is going to be what I've been playing. So I've been playing some Fire Emblem. There's a game that came out this week that I'm playing, and there's another game that came out this week that I'm playing. So I'm going to talk about those. I don't want to spoil them. The mid-section, we got some news from Splatoon 3. We got some news from the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of news that came out of that. We have a video game release that has been getting some mixed reviews. We're going to talk about that in the mid-section. And we also have some DLC that's dropping in the quarter 1 of 2023 we're going to mention. And just mention that there's a trailer for that, and we have no firm details. And then in the miscellaneous talk section at the end of this show, we're going to talk some sports. Is going to be the main focus. The Carolina Panthers, the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, has some news, so we will talk about that news in that section. So that was just my little rundown of the show. I like to let you know what we're doing here on the show, and I like to let you know what we're doing, and I want to recap after the section. That's kind of a goal of mine, just to keep this thing organized and a positive and pleasant listening experience for you, listener. So, all right, so we're in the what I've been playing section. The Fire Emblem Engage is what I talked about first. Really loving that game. And now the next game we're going to talk about is something that came out this week. It came out Friday, January 27th. This is a full price game, $69.99. It is multi-platform, but it's only on the next-gen consoles, I believe is the case. And that is the Dead Space remake. So I bought this actually from Best Buy, so shout out to Best Buy. I had some trouble last week with a digital game from them, but I had no trouble buying this digital game from Best Buy this week, so I want to shout them out. I was actually able to use my reward certificate that they refunded to me correctly, so Best Buy, good on you. I did think it was a little strange that you couldn't download this game at midnight. This game actually released at like 11 a.m. on Friday in North America, I think is what it was, so they released by time zones on the 27th, so I guess that's a common thing, but I think with a lot of these like Nintendo games I play that you can play them right at midnight, so I wasn't up at midnight trying, but I definitely tried that morning before 11 and was like, what the hell's going on with my game? But either way, the game came out on the 27th. I have played pretty much, I've never played Dead Space before, so I just started playing the original, the Xbox 360 version, on my Series X, just to try it out. So I probably played like an hour and a half of it, and I feel like that's about as far as I am in this remake right now. So I've got to see the differences between the two. And the intro does start off a little differently. You get to see Isaac's face right from the beginning, which is cool. And I like the setup of them going to the Ishimura is really cool. And it's just a really nice setup, and I think it is just more fluid. And then, you still get into the first area, and you have to go learn stasis, and I don't know, it's really cool. The approach to the Ishimura is probably the coolest thing so far, and walking on there and seeing the video playing, talking about welcome to the thing, but you kind of picking up on the sense that everybody's dead there. It's just really cool. And the graphics on this game look amazing. There's a performance mode and a visual mode, I guess is what you'd call or it's either you can toggle the performance mode on or off, and the performance mode will, allow the game to run at a steady 60 frames per second. So that's what I've been using. But I actually turned this off to see what I guess they say the visual mode, or I guess that's what you call it. The highest visual looking, and it looks amazing in that mode. So I don't know. I might try to switch to that for this game because it looks so good. But I don't know. It is harder to, when you play the 60 frames, it's harder to switch to the, lesser framed version. But I bet I could easily get over it. But when I first tried it, swinging Isaac around, it was seeming a little slow. So, I'm a wuss. So I need all the advantages of these frames on my side right now is what I'm thinking, so I can turn and, kill these guys with my plasma cutter. So this has been really fun. So let's talk about some more of what I've been seeing from this game. I started playing this. The intro starts off a little different. You see Isaac's face right from the start. I like the approach of the USG Ishimura. That was really cool. They approach, there's no one, they crash land. The normal conversation they were having before was cool. Isaac was mainly just talking about missing his wife, so I don't think he's going to be seeing his wife anytime soon. But I bet he'll see her again, so we'll see. The graphics are insane. I'm using performance mode. The game was scaring me even in a section that I already played, so I'm in for a ride here. I completed the stasis part, so I already knew what some of these people were going to jump out at me at, and it still scared the hell out of me. So this game is really cool. I started playing midday yesterday, and once it got dark, I quit playing. So a lot of these times I'm playing these games in the morning or when it's still light out because I'm a wuss. So we'll see if I can toughen up from playing this game, but I'm really loving it. I said go plasma cutter go. Oh yeah, I'm playing on easy. I wanted to mention that. There's also a difficulty lower than that called story. So, I could see myself switching to that if I'm getting my ass kicked. But there's also, I think there's 4 difficulty levels is what there are. So, you never know. Maybe I'll be going lower, maybe I'll be going higher, but I'm going to be playing this game and I'm going to be loving it. And I just wanted to tell you some things about what they're doing in this remake. Some details on what they've done in this. And, maybe you played Dead Space before, maybe are thinking about buying this and want to know what they do with this remake. How remade is it? So this game was built from scratch in the Frostbite engine. It will be adapted to more modern sensibilities and will also harken to the events of Dead Space 2 and 3. And then in addition to the dismemberment mechanics getting a good spit and polish, you can also expect the zero-gravity sections to be a lot more frictionless and for a bunch of modern features to be added, such as 3D audio and vastly more advanced effects and lighting. The whole game will play out as one cut. Yeah, that's insane. With no loading screens separating different areas of the ship. I did just notice that this morning, that when you load back up into your save, it just zooms back out from the save the save data hub that you were at, like in the game. It was awesome. So they were touting that before, and it really is impressive. I noticed it just offhand, playing this. So that's really cool. I forgot I wrote that. I just wrote this thing down from it. With no loading screens separating different areas of the ship, and according to creative director Roman Campos Oriola, EA Moto was able to pull off things EA Redwood Shores Visceral Games had planned, but were unable to achieve due to tech constraints. So they are utilizing the power of these next gen consoles to enhance this game, and they're saying to complete the full vision of what the original devs were thinking for this game. So it's really cool. I think a lot of people were, I guess you go into a remake wondering if it gets better or worse than the original. And I think, the overwhelming consensus on this is it's better. Not just with the graphics base, but some of these other changes they got to tweak to it. So they've had all the time over the years to think about these changes of what they wanted to do, and now they were able to accomplish it. So that's really cool. So some more things, just talking about what they did in the remake. In the 2008 original 0G sections, Isaac could only clomp along the Ishimura's plating with his boot magnets. Now he can float around with suit-mounted thrusters like in the sequel. So they took some mechanics that people really liked from the sequels and added it into these sections in this first game. So really smart. Revisited areas won't be free of enemies like they were in the original. So you'll have to come back to those areas and you'll have to be fighting more of these scary motherfuckers. It's not being released on PS4 or Xbox One because of them wanting to utilize, next-gen hardware and the power. And let's see, yep. And I pre-ordered on the Xbox. So I'm playing this on Xbox, just so you know out there. And Isaac is seeming like a great adventure so far. And I just wanted to make you aware that game came out yesterday, Dead Space Remake. It's going to be taking a little bit of a back seat, I guess, to my Fire Emblem Engaging, but they are very different games, so I think it'll be a nice balance of two games to play right now and talk about. So these games will probably be taking up the what I've been playing section for a decent bit for the near future on the Dep Lewis Show. Alright, so Dead Space Remake, seeming really great. If you're into the survival horror in the space, then this might be the one for you. Alright, A Blast from the Past, a game that just got released this week. There's another, I guess we'd call it a remake. It's more just an update and a re-release kind of thing, but it's GoldenEye 007. You can play this right now. It was released on Xbox as part of the Rare Collection, so if you own that Rare Collection that came out, pretty much when the Xbox One released, which I have, you were able to download this for free. So I was just able to go download this game from my past that I loved and try it out. This is also available through Game Pass, so that's another win for Game Pass, and it's also available through Nintendo Switch Online. I'm hearing less than great things about this version. However, the controls seem to be a little bit more dated. I guess they did some more work on the Xbox is what I'm hearing, but I'm unable to try not unable to try, but I don't have the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack to play this. So you need the Nintendo Switch Online sub plus the expansion pack so you can download the N64 player on there and play this game. So I'm happy to try this on the Xbox because it looks really cool and it's really neat that it's running on the X. I completed the dam and that's the first level in that game and it's so memorable, and the second level is too. And I died in the second level from killing the doctors or shooting, there's can't kill the civilians or whatever. But I got scared and killed the first one. Then I think I was pretty close to the end of that level, but I was just like, damn it, I got to redo this one. But the gunplay does feel dated. It does feel a little hard to shoot the guy sometimes, but it kind of auto-aims, I think. And I think I've been fighting the auto-aim a little bit, but it feels pretty good for the most part. And it looks good. And it looks crisp. It's an old game running on this powerful machine, so it definitely looks better, and it feels cool, and it's just very nostalgic, and it's cool playing this on the Series X, and I want to see how many of these levels I remember. And I think I beat this entire game, and I used to play these levels, endlessly. This was probably one of my most played N64 games, and played a lot of the multiplayer. I don't know if I'll be getting into any of that here, but I do plan on trying to run through some of these story levels and just see what I remember and having a nostalgia blast. This had to be one of my first games for the system on the N64. I think, I would have Banjo was my first game, Banjo-Kazooie, and then I might have had a basketball game before that was kind of my thought. But this was definitely one of my, most beloved games from that era. GoldenEye 007 is a 1997 first-person shooter developed by Rare and published by Nintendo for the N64. It's based on the 95 James Bond film GoldenEye. The player controls the secret agent James Bond to prevent a criminal syndicate from using a satellite weapon. So I don't have any real affinity for James Bond or the movies, but I really do have some affinity for the games. I really played this one, and then I think there was one on GameCube that came out after this that I played a whole lot of and was really cool. So it's just nice, and especially that I didn't have to pay anything to play this game was a really nice surprise. I bought that Rare collection way back in the day when the Xbox One released. There weren't a whole lot of games for it, and that Rare collection was something. It had to be one of the first really legit cool collections that was put out there. Now you see a lot of them, like that Atari collection that I want to play, and that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, and they have all these great collections of games. And there's those Castlevania ones and stuff like that. But it's really cool. GoldenEye 007. I'm going to be playing some more of this. It's just coming at a very hot time during Fire Emblem and Dead Space. But I was surprised by how quick that first level was. So I'm anticipating most of these levels are pretty quick, and I just want to get in there and see what I can see. So I'll be reporting to you on the GoldenEye 007s, going further in the year, and that was just a really cool thing to happen. And so go check it out there. If you got a Switch or if you got an Xbox, you can go play this, and if you have an N64 from back in the day, you can play this as well. So whatever you want to do out there, people. Alright, so that's going to wrap up the first section of this Dep Lewis Show, episode 17. So what I've been playing is the Fire Emblem Engage that came out on the 20th, and I've been loving that. We had a game that came out on the 27th. That's the Dead Space remake, so we talked about some of that. You'll be hearing more about both of those games. And the GoldenEye 007, I don't know what we call it, a re-release, dropped this week, so go check that out on Xbox and Nintendo. And all those games are very fun, so I'll probably be playing all three of those next week, and I'll be back then to let you know what I'm playing. So we're going to take a quick break, the first break of the show, and then we're going to talk about what I've been seeing out there in the video game world, the video game landscape. And we got some good stuff to talk about, so go take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Peace. Welcome back to the world famous Dep Lewis Show. This is the mid-section of episode 17, so welcome back. This is a section where I talk about what I've been seeing out there in the video game world that interests me, and there's quite a bit this week. So I'd like to, for this first game I'm going to talk about, I'd like to welcome it to the mid-section. This game is not usually in the mid-section, it's usually in the the leadoff spot up there in the what I've been playing section, but this game is now coming down here to the midsection for a bit, but it won't be for long because that is Splatoon 3, and there's another Splatfest coming up. Hooray. We got a Splatfest, baby. It's going to be a real treat is what they said, and they want you to splat it out for your chalky, which I have a problem with that word. They're trying to mean chocolate. Splat it out for your chalky of choice. So pick your chalky. Are you a dark chalky, or are you a milk chalky, or a white chalky? That's what they want to know. So I think this should be the last instance of the word chalky ever being used, but this is going to be a mouth-watering matchup, they say. So you got to pick dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate. And I got to pick on this show, so hold on. We're going to pick in just a second. This starts Saturday, February 11th, 2023, and ends Sunday the 13th. So on the weekend, that weekend, you can play a ton of Splatoon 3, and I'm going to be doing that. Maybe I can get Volness on there to back me up, and we can kick some ass and rep our squad. So which team will I pick? We're going to decide right now. Dark, milk, or white. Dark, milk, or white, and we are going dark. I like some dark chocolate. I sometimes buy these little Ghirardelli squares, and they have caramel in them. And I believe, well, those might be milk chocolate sometimes, but sometimes I do dark. And for this Splatfest, we're going dark. We're going 0 Dark 30 up in this bitch. We're going to be on the dark squad. We're going to be on the dark side. Shout out to Darth Maul. Shout out to Darth Vader. Shout out to anybody who's dark or Darth. And that's what we're going to be repping out there in the Splatfest. So we didn't actually win last time, which was sad. The Sour Squad came in last. But Dark Squad, we're going to rise up and we're going to win this shit. And I just want to say that for the Dep Lewis Show, the official chalky choice of the Dep Lewis Show for the Splatfest in February is the Dark Chocolate Squad. So let's go rep that squad well, and eat some chocolate this month. And put it in your refrigerator. That's another tip from the Dep Lewis Show. Put your chocolate in the fridge, let it cool, and then eat that bitch. It's really, really good that way. So that's just a tip. So Splatoon 3, welcome to the midsection. You're going to be in the top section, come that week in February. And I'm just excited for the Splatfest. It's always a fun reason to get back into Splatoon 3. And I'm just excited that we have one coming up already. So it wasn't, maybe there's only like a month between them, it seems like. So Splatoon 3, the best game of 2022, according to the Dep Lewis Show. And that's all you need to know. All right, so last week, the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct happened on Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. I watched this, and I actually watched the Jeff Gerstmann stream over this while he talked about it while it was going on. So I watched this after the fact on that day on Wednesday, and it was a really cool show, and there was an unexpected thing that came from it. But first, we're going to talk about what the show was about. It was presented by the game creators themselves from the studios, including Arcane Austin, Mojang Studios, Turn 10 Studios, and ZeniMax Online Studios. The Developer Direct will focus on big features, extended gameplay showcases, and the latest info for Xbox games launching in the next few months. So they announced that they would not be talking about Starfall. They're going to have Starfield. Starfield's going to have its own whole show or showcase or something. So they said that from the jump it wouldn't be included, but they did say these next few games would be talked about, and I wrote down a few little details about each of them. And so we're going to get into it. So they talked about the Elder Scrolls Online, which is something I never really played. I love Elder Scrolls in the mainline games, but I've never tried the online. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to get me into it. I think there's been tons of this game out there. I think there's over 20 chapters. So I don't know. We'll see. But they call this game ESO. That's something I learned too, that they refer to this game as ESO a lot. So I guess that's the cool way to refer to Elder Scrolls Online. So I'll be doing that going forward, so I can seem cool out here. But so they shared a look at ESO's newest class, the Arcanist, and talked about its next major content update titled Necrom. The chapter is taking players back to Morrowind, Morrowind was my first Elder Scrolls game that I ever played, and one of my favorite games of all time. And then let's see. Plus, Xbox revealed that it is making all 20 previous chapters and DLC free to play for a limited time, so you can jump into the world of Elder Scrolls Online as long as you have access to the base game. So, that's the main thing to highlight from this. If you'd like to get into Elder Scrolls Online, seems like it might be the best time to do so. So, if I have a want meter of how much I want to get into Elder Scrolls Online or try it, I'm maybe like at 8%, but, it's at least not 0. I love Elder Scrolls, but I just don't know if I'd like this online version. But if you could play through it, as a single player, I think that would be kind of cool. So, who knows? Maybe I'll just look up some more information about this game just to get the wiser. So we'll see. All right, so the next game they talked about is something that I definitely want to play. It's Forza Motorsport, and that game did actually not get a release date, which all these other games in this showcase got a release date except for Forza. All they can tell us about Forza Motorsport is that it releases sometime in 2023. So thanks for that. Being vague is all you can be. It'll come out sometime this year, but hopefully that's for the best, and hopefully this game will be great, which I believe it will. So Turn 10 Studios is developing this game. There are 20 locations to race at, including returning favorites and 5 that are brand new to this entry. This game will run at 4K with 60 frames per second and utilize ray tracing. This will feature more than 500 cars, including over 100 cars that are new to the game. So I love some Forza. This is always a great entry for me to get into, either the Horizon or the Motorsport side. I like to play these games and listen to podcasts or listen to music. It's a perfect kind of just turn your brain off and race some car game, and they look amazing. They're always one of the top visual showpieces for each, for the system. And I've even thought about getting into some Gran Turismo at some point, but Forza's the racing series that has my heart right now, and it's had it for a while. So, even though we didn't get a release date, I will be still checking for this game, and I bet you will be too. So, and if you haven't played Forza Horizon 5 from, it's a couple years ago, that was one of my top, I think that was in my top 3 favorite games that year, but you should go play that because that game is still great and still fun to play. All right, the next game they talked about is Minecraft Legends. This is an upcoming strategy game set in the Minecraft universe. I do like strategy games, so that's, a positive for me wanting to try this game. On the want meter, this might be a 5% game that I'd like to try. This has a release date of April 18th, 2023, so that's exciting that it gets a release date. It's always good to know. This game actually does look really cool, so this could be something I check into. With all these things, if they're on Game Pass, maybe this is a great year. I think Xbox will tell you every year and every moment's a great time to subscribe to Game Pass, but it's not always fun paying a monthly subscription. But right now, especially with the next game, or a game I'm going to talk about in a second, a Game Pass subscription can be really valuable and fun and useful, so maybe I need to cough up the funds for it, so we will see. Alright, so that's Minecraft Legends. The next game that I'm excited to talk about is Redfall. This is a co-op vampire shooter from Arcane and Bethesda, and it's coming out May 2nd, 2023, so there's another date for you. Love to get a good date. May 2nd, that's right before Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, so that's interesting. They don't want the smoke with the Zelda date, so they're getting out a week ahead of that, so that's smart. It includes Arcane's trademark level design that allows players to take on combat situations multiple ways. Yeah, I do think I'm interested in this. Maybe I'll play this through Game Pass as a smart decision. Yeah, it says, do I need Game Pass now? Yeah, I think I do. But Redfall's looking cool. I don't like the co-op. This game will be dependent on if you can play it single player. I don't generally play too many co-op games. So I need to be able to play as a single player and be able to have fun in this game would be the normal goal. So I am definitely tracking this game and will be keeping up with what it's doing, and I might be playing it. But it is coming out right before Zelda, so that's a tough argument for purchasing it. But it being on Game Pass, you can try anything on Game Pass, so that might be the argument in favor for it. So looking really cool. Redfall looking really neat. All right, so I wrote, is there any other details that, they told us they'd talk about all those games, so that was all kind of expected, but we got dates, and that was cool. And I wrote, in my pre-notes, I wrote, would there be any other details? And yes, there were. Hi-Fi Rush was the surprise of the show. That's the name of the game, Hi-Fi Rush. And this is something I would like to try. On my want meter, it's probably up in the 80% range. And it was released immediately after announcement, so that was amazing. So this game got announced during the show, and they said, hey, you can go play this bitch right now. So I love that they do that. I love when it's actually a really good game, it seems like. This is a rhythm game. I've been kind of talking about rhythm games recently, so this could be the universe conspiring for me to get a cool rhythm game in front of me. I've been talking about Rhythm Heaven and Melatonin, and I did that whole breakdown last week on the Rhythm Heaven franchise. Maybe I should just try this Hi-Fi Rush. This game is on Game Pass, or it is $29.99, and it is a vibrant rhythm action game. It comes from Tango Gameworks. That's the studio behind horror games like The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. So this is a big departure for the studio, with bright, upbeat gameplay and a rocking soundtrack, is what they say. So playing to the beat isn't a requirement, but you get rewarded the better you are at staying in time. So I like to think that I have some rhythm and I can be able to keep a beat in this game. So this will be a way I can put that to the test. But the graphics in this game look cool. They keep saying it looks like a Saturday morning cartoon is the vibe you're getting from it, or they're getting from it. And you probably heard about this game this week. This game really splashed onto the scene. I think every streamer and every video game person was talking about this game and playing it, and loving it. Yeah, I'm hearing crazy things about people loving this game, so I think you should go try it if you have an Xbox. I guess that's the only place you can play it. I don't know if it's on PC, but it's seeming really cool, and this could be, an argument. I might be downloading Game Pass this week, or, I might be paying for a sub this week so I can play this game. But, that was the last detail that I wanted to bring up from the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct, but that was a really cool show, and I hope they do more things like this in the future, especially with a shadow drop like this Hi-Fi Rush. I think that show, I give them an A+ on that show. They really did a great job. All right, there's a coffee break, so thank you, or excuse me. All right, so that was a really cool show for the Xbox, and so now let's talk about a release for the PS5 that came out. This was a full price release, so it was at $69.99. This is a PS5 and PC release, and it came out on January 24th, 2023, and that game is Forspoken. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play this, and I actually want to play this now. I think maybe we'll keep this up, but the want percentage would probably be 47%. I'd like to try this game. Maybe if it goes on a sale, my want percentage would go up for this, but I watched Jeff Gerstmann play this. His only complaint was the movement not being as sharp as he would like. But then he also complimented this game on its B-game nature. So, B games aren't really a big tier of games that get made anymore. A lot of people don't like to try stuff that's different, or, this is apparently like a 15-hour, just a little bit of a action story game. So, we're usually getting a sprawling, you want a 100-hour game, or you're getting some, a remake, or, usually you're wanting some type of like grand giant experience. Like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I don't think this game is going for that, is the point that Jeff's trying to make. But this game is getting a lot of mixed reviews. It starts off in New York, then goes to Fantasyland, so some of that stuff's cool. I really like the tech on the main character, like the facial tech looks amazing. The character looks really cool. All the menus and stuff in this game look cool. The graphics are neat. It's apparently running on the Final Fantasy engine. I think the Final Fantasy 15 engine is what it is. So, you can kind of see the links there. And this is developed by Luminous Productions and published by Square Enix. So, I don't know. This game, I don't think you're going to go into this game thinking it's the best of all time, but this looks like you could have a fun experience with it. So, I think this is something I'd like to try, especially, I think this game has crazy specs on the PC, like recommended specs to play it. So, it looks really cool. And it would be cool to see this game running on my PS5 since I'll be able to do that. So, it just seems like it's pushing the hardware. So, at least it's doing, it's doing something there. Apparently, from what I watched Jeff playing, the story seems a little bit cool. I kind of like it. The main character seems neat. The combat seems all right. Maybe the movement doesn't seem cool, but the platforming that you're doing, the running and jumping and stuff seems cool. So, I think there is something there. And this game seems a little bit polarizing. So, go check it out for yourself. It seems like it's pretty neat, at least. And that game is Forspoken, if you have a PlayStation or a beefy PC that can run it. Because apparently those minimum specs are pretty high. So, looking really cool. There's that's what I'm saying. There's tons of games out here right now. And there's only more and more coming. So, this is going to be another great year for video games. Is a definite prediction from the Dep Lewis Show, episode 17. Episode 17. All right, the last thing I want to talk about in this mid-section of things I've been seeing is there was a Dead Cells Return to Castlevania trailer. It was a teaser trailer that dropped. And the trailer looks awesome. I'm already sold on wanting to play this game, but I'd love to know how much of it's going to be and when it's going to come out, and we didn't get either bits of information. There's still no release date. It just says it's coming in Q1 of 2023. So at least we know it's coming earlier in the year. And, I anticipate maybe it'll be $20, $19.99, $24.99 or something like that to download the DLC is my guess. But this looks really cool and I'm hyped for it. And I just wanted to highlight that there's a new trailer out for it if you want to go check it out. But I think most Dead Cells people are going to just be buying this off rip. So we just need them to announce a date. So I don't know if we're actually going to get a date or if we're going to get announced a date and it'll be a few days out like before it comes, or it's just going to get dropped, I don't know why they're being so mysterious on the date if it is Q1, but, give us the damn date, people. I guess it's at least going to be late Q1, but, what do I know? Maybe it'll drop next week, just like Hi-Fi Rush dropped this week, That was a surprise, so some of the best things and some of the best worst things come at you as a surprise, so we'll see. Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. I'm going to be playing some of that probably on my Nintendo Switch is my plan. So that is what I've been seeing section. I've been seeing a lot. I've been seeing that Splatoon 3 next Splatfest coming in the middle of February, so check that out. The Xbox Bethesda Developer Direct was Wednesday, and that was worth watching, so go catch up on that. They talked about ESO. If you don't know what that means, then you are dumb. You don't know nothing about games if you don't know what ESO is. And then, because I just learned what it was. And then there's Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, and Hi-Fi Rush was the surprise of the show and the game that I'd probably say you should go check out right now. It looks really cool, and I'll probably be checking that out soon. Forspoken's actually kind of looking kind of cool to me, getting mixed reviews. And then Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, we're getting some DLC in Q1, but we still don't have a date yet. But we did get a teaser trailer, so at least they gave us something is what we can say. So we're going to take another break. And we're going to come back for the last section of this show, the Miscellaneous Talk section. And we're going to talk some sports. And then we're going to get out of here for another great week of the Dep Lewis Show. So please come back for one more section. And we'll be right back. See you in a minute. Welcome back to the final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 17. Thank you for coming back and rejoining the show. The Miscellaneous Talk today is going to focus around some sports and the official teams of the Dep Lewis Show. So we're going to start off with the Carolina Panthers, the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show. We've been watching the head coaching search for the Panthers for a couple weeks now. This after the season, they didn't make the playoffs. Steve Wilkes took them on a run, had them in playoff contention, but they didn't quite get there. But they really rallied the team. They had more wins than the previous coach had in like any season, which was pretty insane, or he tied him or something like that. But did he get the job? No, he does not. They hire Frank Reich as the head coach. I just wrote meh to this. He was the coach of the Colts last season. He got fired mid-season because they were doing terribly. And then, some positives I wrote. He has lots of Charlotte ties, which is cool. He's an offensive-minded coach and was the first QB of the Carolina Panthers when the franchise started, back in the 90s as an expansion team. So he was their first QB, which is cool. Is he going to call the plays? I kind of hope he does. So I heard the argument this week that you want your head coach calling plays because these coordinators are leaving. The coordinators are trying to get a head coaching job out there. So if you have your head coach calling the plays, then not as reliant on the coordinator if he leaves or whatever. So I think that is a bad sign for Ben McAdoo. I think he'll be looking for a job elsewhere, is my guess. And I guess Steve Wilkes, that's a bad sign for him too. I'd love Steve Wilkes to be on the staff still, but I just don't see that happening for him. With the way this shook out, I think he did enough to earn the job. But Frank Reich seems like an okay choice, but it's just a lot to be determined. Panthers fans have been on a ride here for some years, and it hasn't been the greatest one. So we'll see. Him being a little bit of, they call him he handles quarterbacks well and can develop quarterbacks, so that's exactly what we need. The Panthers, most head coaches in the league are offensive minded. So, we're following that trend. And, I think the only, that DeMeco Ryan is the D coordinator for the Niners. I think he's getting the Texans job at what it sounds like. And, I was watching the Pat McAfee show and they were talking about how that's a decision in itself to, pick a defensive-minded head coach because that's not too commonplace these days. But the NFL could be shaken back that way with, we've seen run games be more important and things of that nature this year. So, who knows? Maybe they could be up on the first trend, or maybe they could just be an outlier, or maybe they could be making a bad decision. But either way, the Panthers hired Frank Reich. He's the new head coach. It's nice that he seems like a legit head coach and not trying like a real young guy at least. So, I think there's some positives here. I was immediately kind of bummed that it wasn't Steve Wilkes, but I think this is okay. And I just have, as I like to say, tempered expectations for these Panthers in the next coming years. But, if they can get a quarterback playing and some consistency at the coaching spot from what they've had to deal with in recent times, then maybe they can have a contender. So we'll see. That's my hopeful self talking about it. But that should be, I don't know. There could be some more free agent kind of news we'll hear soon for the Panthers. But that was kind of a big headline there. So shout out to Big Tepper for making some decisions out there, whether good or bad, but he's making them. So we'll see. Now I picked the Bills to win the playoffs on this podcast, so I'm just acknowledging that being incorrect. The Bengals, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the 49ers are left, so I don't even want to pick who I think is going to win out of there. I kind of like that CMC is on the 49ers, and I like the Bengals. I mean, I like all these teams a little bit, so I don't really have a dog in the fight, but those are the teams that are left, and I don't know, maybe I'll pick the Super Bowl winner when that comes up, but the Carolina Panthers need to get their shit together, and they're trying to right now with the hiring of their coach, so I guess that's the next thing, so all right, the official NBA team of the Dep Lewis Show are the Atlanta Hawks. They lost to the Bulls early in the week. They beat the Thunder, and they got the Clippers coming up tonight, Saturday night. So all I got to say about this week is, I think it was an impressive win against the Thunder. It was a pretty close game. SGA seems so legit. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder, they're very lucky to have him. I'm glad they've never traded him, and for their sake, he seems like a good player, and I really liked watching him. And their team was pretty fun, but the Hawks got the best of them, and I think the Hawks will get the best of the Clippers tonight. And then the Hawks have the Blazers upcoming on Monday, which is fun. They can go up there and see Dame time. The Hawks have a big road swing coming up, so they're going to be on the road all next week. So at Blazers on Monday, at Phoenix Suns on Wednesday, at Jazz on Friday, and then Nuggets on Saturday. So that's a pretty tough slate of games. Blazers are tough. Suns tough. They should be able to beat the Jazz, and Nuggets got the Joker over there with his MVP, so it'll be an interesting week to say the least for the Hawks. We're really going to test their mettle. We're going to see what they got, and I think the trade deadline's coming up mid-February, so we're still on the lookout for trades out there. They're out shopping John Collins every day. Are they shopping Trey? I don't know, but I would probably predict that John Collins is going to get traded. I think the most recent one I heard was Houston, so I just don't expect we're going to get anything in return, which is weird. We're just going to get rid of him and get a pick or something. So, I think they're hoping for addition by subtraction, but I don't really know. But hopefully the Hawks are trending upward, and it seems like they are a little bit recently. So, need to stay healthy. Hopefully make some smart moves before the trade deadline, or don't make any dumb moves, and we'll see what they can do. So, I'll let you know what the Hawks are doing next week, and we're getting close to the All-Star break. They were talking about how Trey didn't get very many votes from his peers, and who cares? But who cares is really what I think about that. He probably thinks the same thing too. So, all right, the official Major League Baseball team of the Dep Lewis Show and the favorite sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves. That's the number one team in the universe. And their games are on Bally Sports, and Bally Sports is going bankrupt apparently. So I don't know what that means for the future of the Braves games, but it's going to affect this 2023 season, is what they say. So I don't know if there's going to be some more difficult way to watch the games, or you have to subscribe to more of a niche service to get into it. But I wish it would just be somehow easy to watch the Braves, or just be able to pay like an ad hoc price just to watch the Braves would be amazing. But I don't know what's going to happen. So they have until March 30th to get this figured out in my mind, because that's the first Braves game of the season. And I'd love to hear some information about where the games are going to be broadcast, so I can watch them and prepare to pay for that, because I got to be watching these Braves out there. So keep following that story, the Bally Sports bankruptcy. That seems really important, and it seems like it's going to affect a lot of teams out there. A lot of teams, across the country, really. A lot of people's local sports stations. So watch out for that shit. But the Braves, and some positive news, they extended Brian Snitker through 2025, and I really like that. It's not too many years away. Snitker's he's an older coach or an older manager, but he's still doing great and in great shape. So I like that we're not signing him for 30 years or whatever. 3 more years is a great idea. It should be in our championship window. Should still be strong and alive, even by 2025 and beyond, but definitely through those years. So hopefully he'll be getting at least, I hope multiple World Series, but hopefully at least gets one more before then. That would be great, and that would be amazing. And I really like Brian Snitker as a skipper, and I'm happy that the Braves have extended him. I love when the teams I like extend the players and people I like. So next I want to see Max Fried get extended on the Braves, and then go extend Brian Burns on the Panthers, please and thank you. And that's how we're going to end the sports talk this week, with those demands from the Dep Lewis Show, episode 17. You heard it here, so listen up out there. All right, so we talked some sports. We talked some Panthers got a new coach. We talked the Hawks having some success, playing the Clippers tonight, and we talked the Braves. The Braves broadcast being in jeopardy. Chip Carey actually flew ship. He went to the Cardinals, so we lost Chip as a commentator, which I don't know. He was okay, but I guess he was seeing the writing on the wall, or knew what was happening, or I don't know if he's being affected now. But all the Braves broadcast stuff seems in flux. So watch out for the Bally, and I watch the Hawks on Bally too. So I don't know what that means for that. So I don't know. Watching out for this stuff. And then Brian Snitker got his extension, so that was it. So that's going to wrap up the Dep Lewis Show, episode 17. So thank you for listening to the show. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about what I've been playing, from Fire Emblem Engage to Dead Space Remake to that GoldenEye 007 re-release. In the midsection, we talked about Splatoon 3 having the next Splatfest coming up in mid-February. We talked about the details from the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct that happened, and all those great games got detailed in the surprise release of Hi-Fi Rush. We talked about Forspoken, the new PS5 and PS5 and PC release. That's getting some mixed reviews, following that Dead Cells return to Castlevania DLC. And in the sports section, we got into some Carolina Panthers head coach talk, Hawks, and the Braves. So just thank you for listening to the show, as you always do. I really appreciate the support, and I just want to tell you a few things to do to support the show. If you'd like to support even further, please follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You need to like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback you have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of this show are on Apple Podcasts, the Dep Lewis Show, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. And just thank you for listening as always. I appreciate it so much. And please come back next week for episode 18, because I'll be here. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.